Yeah.
Okay, when you are.
There it is.
1 o'clock. Hello. We call the meeting to order. We'll call the airport to order. You've got Ross, whatever tonight, Neil Givney, we're at Bill, we're at Cleary, we're at Julie Frank, Roy Kinkowski, Cindy White, Steve Anderson, and Tim Convert are excused. Move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, please silence your cell phones if you haven't done it. Ryan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, anybody have any conflicts of interest on the board tonight?
No.
Any changes to the agenda? Call for a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I make a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Motion carried. Moving on to staff reports, we'll go to our Newark.
Okay. Corey Siegfried with Ardura. Just a report on the ongoing engineering projects over the course of the last month. I'm going to skip the ones that have not had any forward movement and just go over the ones that we've been working on. And so the runway 624 project, we finally closed out with Poe, who was our contractor from last year. They submitted their final paperwork, and so we submitted all of that data to the FAA, and the FAA has allowed the airport to draw the grants down to 97.5%. So that one's getting closer to being closed. The Taxiway Charlie project, we started construction with J7 Contracting around the end of October and worked for, I think it was 15 days to get the preloading of that. There's kind of an over depth area where we're preloading the soils to make them consolidate, and then we will begin construction again in May of 2025. So it's a 6-month preloading process. And we're working with J7 to submit the first application for payment. Let's see here. The ARF vehicle, the Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting Vehicle, is currently bidding in the newspaper. The FAA had reviewed the specs that we put together and approved those at the beginning of November, and it's bidding. The bids should open, I think it's the 6th or 7th of January at the commissioners meeting. We have a new project that we just began work on, and it's Taxiway A rehab, pavement rehab. It was the design of it will be during FY25. We attended a pre-design meeting with the airport and the FAA in the middle of November, and it's to look at some options and how we should redo the pavement on Taxiway A. And right now we're putting together the scope of work. So preliminary design is through like 30% design for next summer, and then we would start final design, and actual construction would be in 2026 is what it's slated for with FAA funding. The wildlife hazard management training, Corleen and Ardura did that together in the middle of November, and Ardura prepared the certificates of completion and the annual meeting minutes. We just got under contract to do a little ALP and Exhibit A, which is the airport's property map update, to get it back. There was a little property sale to the city of Hayden, I think it was last year, and we just need to add that to the airport's official property map, and then update their ALP to show that property sale. And then Ardura has been working with Gaston to develop some concept layouts for the U.S. Forest Service on the north side, northeast, I guess, of like the North Taxiway. And we haven't got that quite finalized yet, so it's still in, we're doing the scope of work for that. And then the last thing is air traffic control tower staffing request for proposal. We're going to help Gaston and airport staff put together a proposal for the staffing of the air traffic control tower that was here last summer, so it can be bid quickly. That is all I have.
Anybody have any questions?
I have a question, but it might be for Gaston when he's coming up here. So that work, the groundwork that's being done over there by Aerostar, is that for extra hangars?
It is, yeah. So there's gonna be 6 buildings and 11 suites. So there's gonna be a couple multi-unit facilities, kind of like the Huckleberry hangars over there. It's a partnership with a couple different builders that are doing it. That taxiway will extend past Aerostar and go down around into there.
So how many actual hangars?
11.
11.
Yeah,
Okay.
11 suites.
11 hangars. Are you gonna have to backfill that with any of that grindings over there, or is that pretty much at grade right now?
They're getting it pretty close right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question in that same vein. Who's doing that excavation?
It's CDA paving. So Coeur d'Alene Paving and then Bob Williams are the ones who are building the project. Yeah.
How many different lots are gonna be leased? Is it 3 different leases?
It can be carved up a bunch of different ways. They did it in one major master lease right now, and then as they sell them off or lease them, depending on how they want to structure it, they can carve them off into individual lots and sell the hangars individually.
When do you anticipate those will be available for sublease?
That could be as early as next summer. They're trying to get the infrastructure and grading done before winter and then kind of winterize the project. And then come springtime after the melt, they'll start standing up hangars. I think they're still trying to decide the style and construction of the hangar, what they're going to use over there.
Are those gonna go to the top of the waiting list right now for hangar leases?
As far as,
Is leases, potential leases, because there's still a waiting list, right?
right, so yeah, absolutely. So everyone on the list will get contacts to be able to use those hangars, lease them, buy them. But now that they have built their hangars, they were the next on the list to develop a hangar, so they're off on the bottom of the list now as already having one. So the next available piece will go to the next person.
Are there minimum hangar door sizes on those?
There are not, no. I think a couple of the suites are gonna be pretty sizable hangars, like 80 by 80s, 3 of those, and then the rest of them are like a 50 by 60s, if not 50 by 50s, I believe, for all the rest of them, the condo styles.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Move on, Justin?
Yeah, just a couple quick updates. We are still, with our gate access control software, still transferring gates over. As most of you know, we're on our new Verkada system. A little bit of a bumpy start with it. We were kind of under the impression that our existing system would work in conjunction with the new system, and we would be able to cut people over and get everyone over and communicate that. But when the work was actually being completed, it completely took our old system out. So there were like 6 gates one day that all of a sudden needed different access. So we're finally I feel like we're getting through everyone, getting them on our new app. So it's working very well. It has the ability to serve us well in the future. So our old antiquated system, we shouldn't have the issues we do. Right about now is when we'd start having issues with the old system, just something to do with the cold and the moisture. Our gates just completely quit working. So excited to have this going into winter. We did conduct our snow removal meeting a couple weeks ago. It was pretty well attended. Nothing really new from last year. We're going to do the same as far as our primary surfaces, 624, the main taxiway is getting cleared first, everything else secondary after that. We'll always try and keep snow off of the actual leaseholds, clear it out, muck it out. After an event, we will do our best to keep all of the piling to a minimum. So when you're coming out of the deltas and stuff, there's no piles of snow blocking views down taxiways and everything. So we'll try and stay up on that. I would encourage anyone, if they have an issue with snow removal, if they're buried in anything like that, reach out to our guys. We have a bunch of different equipment now, from big stuff to small stuff, that we can help you guys dig out with. So as long as they're not on the main runway trying to get the main airport back open, we're more than happy to help. So. Outside of that, working with Ardura on the turf runway layout. We're about through 50% design on that, so we have a pretty good idea of what the grading will look like, irrigation, size of the runway. Now we're just working with the FAA on exactly what they want to call it, so we can add it to the ALP. It has to do with how close it is in the runway safety area, which is okay. It's just a matter of how they define it. It's not just an alternate landing area anymore. So once they decide what they want to call it, we can move forward with it. We have two different options as far as base course, the weight bearing capacity of it, what kind of grass we want to use as far as rolling out sod or doing a hydro seed on it. So, but there's a few different options, varying costs in that. So as we move forward, we'll let you guys know what that's looking like. And last thing is, I'm working with Ardura as well to basically do an evaluation of all of our runway and taxiway lighting south of runway 624. Pretty much everything on the north side has been redone, rebuilt with new conductor, new transformers, new LED runway lights. I would like to take a look at runway 2 and 20, alpha, deltas, and start with the runway, but that conductor is many years old. It's over the limit for what it should be. Get new conductor put in, new transformers, and actually transfer those to LED as well, so we're not dealing with maintenance issues. Everything's nice and uniform. And the same going for the taxiway lights. So that could be a project that we would actually do in-house with our staff, so we wouldn't have to go waiting. We wouldn't have to wait for the FAA on a project, an AIP project like that. So
Are all those conductors in conduit?
yeah. So other than that, just kind of business as usual and normal operations.
Good question. Anything going on with the North Side Committee at this point?
We have not met again. We were looking to have a meeting in December, I believe. So we'll probably have one in the next month. So we were kind of waiting to get some word from the Forest Service on nailing down a little bit more of their plans on what they're looking at on the north side. But once we have that, we kind of flesh that out a little bit.
What's the latest status on the VOR commission?
So our local FAA offices literally tell us every month that it's going to be the next month. It's going to be the next month. Now I've been told by our regional office that it will be out by 2025. Well, that's in 3 weeks and it's still here functioning. So I actually wrote a letter to the main NAVAID contact, the support person with the FAA at headquarters to just get a status on it. Like, is this actually going away? This is pretty much made it sound like it's kind of inhibiting some development at the airport. So what are we looking at? Are we expecting for it to be gone? Is it going to be gone in 2 years? Is it disappearing in 2 weeks? Just a status check. So I sent that letter out last week. We should be hearing back soon on that.
Do you know, are they just gonna like turn it off or are they gonna remove it?
So they've been removing them completely, the ones they've been getting rid of. So they'll shut it down, remove it, you'll never know it was there. I have heard that some of them, they're just kind of mothballing to where they could turn them back on. If for some reason there was a satellite issue or we lost GPS positioning, we would still be able to navigate with VORs here. So that is an extremely old, antiquated one. I don't know if this would be one that they would keep around. So we're hoping it completely goes away.
Oh, the rules and standards, where did we ever, any
Yeah.
movement on that?
Yes, we're gonna send those out to you guys before the end of this month for review, and then we'll have them on the next agenda.
Hey, I have a question about the VOR.
Mhm.
So they've got the big reflector out there. That's the most notable feature of that VOR is the reflector. Are the newer VORs reflector-less? Or are they still that obtrusive looking?
A lot of them I've seen are still, they take about the same footprint
Okay.
as this one, yeah.
More questions?
Yeah, questions?
Moving on, Coeur d'Alene Airport Association.
Yeah, we had a great party last night. Missed it, Frank, but it was a good time. We had lots of food and desserts, and we had a great time with that. We have already got one scholarship out on our scholarship program. We had one individual that's been working on us. He's down at A&P school right now in Pocatello. And so he applied for the scholarship and he got it. So that was good. And then we have guest speakers coming in, and we're looking for more guest speakers. We're gonna update our website, working on that too now. So we're gonna try to get that up, and so we can put members into it, and we can have a little more stuff for sale and that kind of thing on there. And try to get some more corporate sponsors and advertising, so on and so forth. I want to also thank Tim. He gave us a great tour through his Empire Airlines facility. He's not here, but thank you, Tim. And I want to thank Stagcraft also, because Joe did a great job there. Thanks to Joe. And I want to thank Hagano. Jim Walsh was very instrumental in that. And that's all I have.
Moving on to item 8, business, item 8, no new business. Justin and I talked several times, we really couldn't come up with anything very meaningful to throw into a meeting at the end of the year, so decided to just put it down that way. Moving on to item B, I would advise anybody on the board, airport, Jockey Public, anybody has input for agenda items for the next meeting, I would need to hear them by the first of the year so that I can get them on the document down to the county so they can publish them and post. And as a general discussion item, I had just 2 things I wanted to mention. Number one, we've got 2 members of this year's board are going to be leaving us after this meeting, Mike Hanklosky and Steve Anderson. And I just wanted to thank them for their service. They've both been on the board for the last 3 years. From the time the board was reconstituted to now, they decided that they didn't really want to serve any longer. So we were going to have 2 new members sometime after the first of the year. The board of county commissioners will advise us who those are. I don't know who's currently applied.
I think the note said they would decide on those folks Tuesday.
Yeah, it's coming right up. And then, of course, coming into the new year, my position is up, chairman. So anybody on the board that thinks they might like to serve, feel free to.
You're just broken in.
Yeah, just broken in. The point broken down. I think Brian can testify to that. So if anybody is interested, feel free to self-nominate a meeting, think about it. You get to, I mean, really all it involves is you run these meetings. You put the agendas together and send them down to the county. That's really about it, except for the occasional visit to give the board of county commissioners the status report, which I think we did, I don't know, 3 or 4 times this year. It's not every month, but it's not a super demanding position. You just have to be willing to stand up here and go with dinner with your voice. So with that, this is a general discussion where we open it to everybody in the room. Anything that they might like to comment on or ask a question about.
Well, it's been nice to serve with you, Mike. I just want to say thank you.
Well, likewise, I
Pleasure to
appreciate
meet
that. And it's just been increasingly difficult for me to juggle my schedule. I've got 13 grandkids and there's a birthday every month and, you know, and so I'm very happy with the way the airport is operating at this point. Feel mission accomplished. So it's time to move on and let somebody else have a chance. But I appreciate serving with everybody.
Well, appreciate having you on the board. Your input has been very valuable. Your help on certain committees has been invaluable, so we're gonna miss you.
Well, I'd still like to be involved in the rules and standards as a non-board member. I mean, we had Harry there and we had Joan Genter. I don't see her here, but we had her helping out too. So beware, if anything comes up and I smell that doesn't smell quite right, I'll be over there in the room, like I have been in years
I
past.
was gonna say, there's always gonna be a chair available there, so don't feel free
Okay. Well,
don't
thank
feel
you.
like you have to stay away.
Thank you, Mike.
I would say the same to Steve, but he's not here.
Yeah, Steve,
I appreciate
Steve
you
had
giving
a
up, Steve.
vet appointment tonight. He had at 4 o'clock. One of his vets, so we skipped out. Tim, I think, got a 10. Okay, let's move on to public comment, which I should have had one after the item 4 changes to the agenda, but I didn't do the agenda the standard way this month because I just told the lady down in county to copy one of the previous months and change the dates. And unfortunately, she went back to a month where we didn't have the 2 public comments. But we'll go ahead and handle it now. Item 9, public comment. Anybody in the audience have anything they'd like to say? Okay, very good. Meeting's adjourned.
Isn't he supposed to ask for?
Oh, yeah, hey,
Supposed to make a
hey,
motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Thanks for the water, rescue.
I got my last 2 cents in. Make sure you mention that.
Okay.